sir.
All right, stream has started.
Okay. We'll just kind of wait here a second or two, and when 5:30 kicks off, I'll ask Margaret to do roll call.
Okay. Oh, and just to let you know, Mr. Streetman, I'm at my other office, so I don't interfere too loudly with those who are controlling the streaming. So
Okay.
yeah, I
So you got people on both sides now of this thing, right?
Yeah, so we don't have lots of echoes and such.
Good. Thank you.
Certainly.
Margaret.
Yes, sir.
Can we do a roll call, please?
Okay. I'm sorry. Let me get my right screen up here. All right. Miss Stevenson?
She appears to be absent, Margaret.
Oh, okay. All right. Mr. Box?
Here.
Mr. Sandoval?
Here.
Mr. Streetman?
Here.
And I know Mr. Sidwell is absent tonight.
Margaret, would you give Miss Stevenson a call right quick and make sure she hadn't forgot, please?
I sure will.
I should have done that earlier, but I figured everybody was.
There she is.
There we go.
Ms. Stevenson, you're muted.
And Margaret, you're muted too.
I know I was going to make a phone call. So, Ms. Stevenson, are you here? Okay.
I tried to, I had it all set up, and when I came back to it, I couldn't get back on again.
Okay.
So I'm on my iPad right now, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have Ms. Stevenson, Mr. Box, Mr. Sandoval, and Mr. Streetman are all present.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, before we go any further, I'll kind of run through the people that we think are present for this meeting. Myself, Jim Streetman, Ms. Teresa Stevenson, Mr. Jimmy Sandoval, Mr. Philip Box, Dr. Gregory Bush, Mr. Joel Kaiser, Mr. Josh McVeigh, Mr. Jim Morgan, Ms. Blanca Polakovich, Mr. Julio Glendo, Mr. Jason Nimro, Dr. Hackett may be here, Dr. Brooks is here, Dr. Marie Haas, Mr. Russell Irby, Ms. Mary Beth Bush, Senator Clinton Hardin, Ms. Shannon Fries, Ms. Alicia Zukovich, Mr. Paul Moss, Mr. Matt Hughes, and Ms. Margaret Ragland. That should be everybody that's on this meeting tonight. That being said, do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Well, first off, is there any changes or additions we need to make to this agenda? Okay, if there are none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, and a second, please. Jimmy seconded, okay. Roll call.
Mr. Streetman?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval?
Yes.
And Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Okay. For Teresa, you weren't here a minute ago, but Tom is having to go to Albuquerque to a meeting early in the morning, so he's already left out and won't be in on this meeting tonight.
No.
Okay. Margaret, do we have any comments from the public on items on this agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. Consent agenda. This includes the board's minutes from the last board meeting for November the 15th of 2022. Do we have any additions or corrections to make to those minutes? Okay, if there are none, do we have a motion to approve those minutes from November the 15th of 2022?
So moved, Teresa.
Okay, and roll call, please.
I need a second.
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Mr.
Okay.
Box,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
Okay. Chairperson's report. I don't have any, so that will take us right into the next reports. And Dr. Bush, you're up, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, distinguished guests. I'm pleased to sort of see such a nice crowd this evening. It's wonderful. Just a couple of things that I want to go through very quickly. And you have in your board packets a number of items. But the first thing I just simply want to mention, we have a new employee. I did notice he's unable to join us this evening. His name is Carlos Medina. He will be serving as the coordinator for academic outreach. He is working alongside Dr. Alan Moss with the dual enrollment and the corrections programs, as well as any other academic programs that take place off of the campus. So they help coordinate that. So that means you may wonder, well, why do we need that guy? Well, Alan Moss was overseeing 66% of our entire enrollment. So it was more than one person could manage. And so he's in a position now. He has a coordinator that assists him in those areas. So just want to make the board aware of that. I want to direct your attention briefly to my board minute or to my report. And I want to make sure that I direct you to the correct report. And just let me find it here. Margaret, did you remove the November one, or did you just put the December?
You know, I didn't out of your book. No, sir.
Okay. So, but the rest of the board has.
The rest of them do. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So you have before you my report. I don't have it before me, so I don't need to waste your time for me trying to remember it. So you can take your time and read that. If you have any questions, I'll be delighted to answer those questions. Moving forward, the next item is I'd like to take a minute and welcome Coach Matt Hughes, who's with us this evening. Thank you, Matthew. And Matt will give us his annual report on the rodeo team and what's going on with those folks.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you guys. And yeah, for the ones that are unfamiliar faces, I'm Matt Hughes. I'm the rodeo coach. So just go over a little recap of what's taken place so far this year. Rodeo's off to a good start. We've had 4 rodeos. The first rodeo we went to, we ended up 4th as a team. The second one that we went to, we ended up 3rd. The third one was here on campus, and we ended up 2nd. And then the last one we went to, we ended up winning. So every rodeo we went to, we've improved. So that's a good thing. Starting to get this team dialed in a little bit, I think. A lot of freshmen, so it's kind of about learning who they are, how they compete, and stuff like that. What actually betters them, what type of practice betters them the quickest. So anyways, we're getting started on the right foot there now that the season's kind of taken off, and we're almost to the halfway point now. So points wise, it's looking good. Our rodeo here, our 2022 on-campus rodeo, we had it in October. I thought it was a great success. The weather didn't really cooperate with us. It was a high of, I think, 40 and rain the whole time. And so that probably wasn't real good as far as growing the attendance from years past. But with considering the circumstances, I thought that we had a very good turnout. There was still lots of people in the stands. The concession stands still sold a lot of food and sold a lot of coffee and hot chocolate, from my understanding. So that was good. And a few new things that we're doing. To me, that's exciting is we've hired for the first time that I know in 10 years a rodeo entertainer. And he came in this year, and we were just a little late as far as hiring him and getting him in here. So that held us back just a little as far as what we could do with them. But that's not all bad because, some things are kind of nice to just put one foot in the water instead of just diving in. But it was good. I thought he did a really good job. He showed up the week before we went to the elementary schools. He was on the radio with us. I do believe that he was a part in selling some more tickets, which is, the goal of the end result. So they say that in a production of the size that we put on, it's going to take, any change you make is going to take, 3 years, 4 years to really see whether it's a true success or if it was a good decision or not. So, I wasn't looking for it in the first year just to be a complete game changer. I do think that it sparked more interest from, crowds of people that maybe have never attended our rodeo. And that's what it takes to have growth. So I think that's going the right way. But with all that, that's all great and stuff. But you can't tell if it's a success 3 or 4 years down the road unless you have a way and a form to monitor it. And this year is the first year that I'm aware that we've ever done it, that I believe Josh McVeigh, and I'm sure there's a lot more responsible for it, that implemented a way to monitor and kind of track the ticket sales, how many tickets we've sold, how much income we've generated, even where the tickets came from, whether they were sponsored tickets, whether we gave those tickets out at the elementary, whether we gave them out at the radio station, or whether they were just sold at the gate. I believe now we have a way and a means to track the growth of overall ticket sales. So to me, that's exciting because now we'll truly be able to see the changes that we make and the decisions that we make from here on in the future, whether they were good decisions or whether we need to go back to the drawing board and start over. So those are a few things to me that's exciting. We're off to a good start, and I sure plan on carrying it on next semester.
Great.
So if there's something that I didn't go over that there's questions or something, just let me know.
Yeah, Matt, would you want to mind giving a couple of shout outs there? I know you've got some, is it your bareback broncs and your bull riders right now that are certainly worth mentioning?
Yeah, I mean, I've got, Brian Huey for one. I believe he's sitting first or second in the region. He's been pretty valuable as far as the points goes in the saddle bronc riding. Both of my bull riders, they're sitting, I think, first or second in the region in the bull riding. We picked up a boy from California this year. His name's Cameron Senegal, and he actually won the all around at the last rodeo. Well, so our team actually won some hardware for the first time in I don't know how long, probably since CJ Aragon, but anyways, that's exciting. So, but Cameron Senegal is, he's one of our highest points earners right now. And he's a freshman from California, and he's actually he has 2 brothers, and both of them are on board to come next year. And then we finally tapped into the Australian market. I know that was pretty successful for CJ Aragon. I have two more verbal consents from Australia for next year. And so those are, as far as the points team goes, Brian Huey, Wyatt Wells, Andy Guzman, Marco Wardez, Cameron Senegal. We do have a freshman saddle bronc rider from California too, Clint Willoughby. And it's funny, his dad's Australian, so got a whole team of Australians this year. But anyways, he's that boy's improving a lot, and if he can, we'll use him on our points team. So
yeah, I think you have a pair of jacks from Australia.
yeah, the Jacks is what
The
we like to
Jacks.
call them. Yeah, Jack Cameron and Jack Pittman. They're pretty good kids. It took a lot for them to get here. I'll say that it was quite the process for them. So they appreciate it once they got here.
Rodeo is an important aspect and certainly a central part of Mesalands College. And I think what we're seeing happening here and what Matt's sharing with you is the continual growth and just the reflection of the culture of this community and how it's continuing to support rodeo, and how just that little bit of extra effort that we've been putting into rodeo this year in the preparation and the distribution of tickets and the sales and the marketing we've seen that growth. I think the rain was a problem, but what we did see was a lot of energy by the people who did weather that storm. And Josh was demonstrating down there. You want to hold it back up, Josh? So you can see here that the rodeo team did make the cover here, and there's a big story. And there we go, big full page ad featuring, let's see, which one of the guys is
Brian Huey.
That's Brian Huey. Yeah. So
we got a 2-page spread. All the other students got one. We got 2, and we capitalized for an ad on his 2-page spread as well for enrolling out in Mesalands.
Absolutely. So good deal. Good deal. I'd like to is Paul Moss on with us? Thought I might have heard it.
Let me see if I can get him on.
If he's not on, that's okay. Just while we're talking about athletics. It's okay, Margaret. Just as an addition there, while we're talking a little bit about athletics, not only are we incredibly proud of rodeo, which we have been for a long time in the history of this college, but you recall this year we began our esports program, and the esports team this fall was their first fall as an NJCAA sanctioned sport. And they went to the national playoffs last week. So not even in a full year yet. And they've already made, there's Paul. Paul, I'm stealing your thunder, but you can jump in here. I was just giving them the good news about your esports team. Do you want to tell them about it going to the national playoffs?
Yeah, so the esports, we had 3 groups go to the playoffs, and this is the first year, so that was really neat. And they did it was a decent showing in the playoffs, and we're young and still learning and growing. And the esports kids are good kids. Well, most of our kids are good kids. And so, yeah, so we're moving along and doing good things there in esports.
We are. Thank you, Paul. And thank you, Matt, for you both. You're welcome to just stay with us, or if you want to log out and go about your business this evening, you can, but I would certainly appreciate you sharing those reports on our athletics. Anything else, Paul, on your other teams right now that you want to bring up or announce to the board?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Very well. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So moving on to our report, I want to direct the board's attention to the IT department, Mr. Nimro. You do have his report in your board packet. If you do, does any of the board have any questions regarding his report? And Mr. Nimro, do you have any highlights you would like to bring out or draw attention to?
Yes, there is something that kind of developed since the written report. We've been working to bring back to, I don't know if I want to call it bringing back to life, but bringing back our technology committee that's been a little kind of in mothballs for a little bit. One of their primary goals of this group is to help us get input from staff and faculty on several fronts. Of course, one of them, of course, is our present ERP and being part of the decision-making process as to whether we're going to remain with our current ERP Genzabar or if we are going to transition to a different one. Also, on the compliance side, this committee is going to be really key to helping our entire college with cybersecurity compliance. It's really vital to being able to retain our financial aid standing so that we can continue to offer and receive financial aid for the students. And that whole process requires a lot of determining what are our greatest risks in our particular circumstance and how we will try to mitigate them. And it's very vital as cybersecurity becomes more and more central to what everybody does. Everybody has computers. They're all hooked up to the network and to the internet. And that makes cybersecurity a crucial part of making sure that our infrastructure can continue to serve and that we can protect it against attack.
Good. Thank you, sir, very much. If I could ask, we do have another person with us, but I'm not sure who it is, so I want to make sure I don't skip over anybody. Person with area code 619, can you identify yourself?
I can help out.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There we go. Okay, who do we
It's
have?
me, Julio.
Who is it?
Julio.
Julio, why are you taking up 2 spaces in our box here? So anyway,
Because
all right.
for some reason my computer is not working. The audio is not working. I've been battling it all day.
All right,
And so I
thank
thought,
you. Not a problem.
hear you.
Not a problem.
Okay.
I just didn't want to miss anybody here. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, at this point in time, I'd like to draw your attention to the administrative affairs section of your board packet. Blanca is responsible for this section. Her report is there if you have any questions for her. I know she does have some issues here that she needs approval from the board. And I see some of those relate to nursing. If you have a question, Blanca can answer that. And I also see that nursing director Shannon Fries is on the meeting with us this evening too, so they can do that. So what I will do is turn it over to Blanca. She can take you through each of these action items.
Hello. So we have we have received, well, you have my report there with all of the updates on the general updates on most of the financial operations. One of the highlights that we have received the faculty endowment for the nursing program, which was the $2 million that we received, and the $700,000 for the nursing expansion grant for equipment and supplemental salaries. And one of the action items here is I am requesting the guidance from HED and also from the board that for the process of investing the funding. There are some statutory guidance that I have researched about, but I will get some more information in addition to this documentation from HED. I'm waiting to hear back from them regarding the investments. And then we have a few requisitions that are for the nursing program. Well, one requisition that is Exhibit 4 for the nursing program for equipment that is part of that $700,000 award that we would need approval for. And two other requisitions, which is one for the exiting of chess regarding the full close out of that program or that plan, for which we would need approval to pay. That requisition is partly funded by an appropriation from HED. And then we have another requisition for the ERP system that we currently have, which is Gensebar, and that is exhibit number 6 in your agenda. And if you have any questions, please let me know. There is also the check report attached and the CD report, which as of the data, as of the end of November, the earnings were $3,992.75 for the month of November. And that is what I have for my reports.
So, Mr. Chair, she has within her report, as you see here, 3, 4, 5 action items. First being that nursing faculty endowment, that is to accept that endowment money. It is required by law, as Blanca has explained to me, that the reception of that money must be invested in that state treasury program. So the board would need to take some action on that. And then the others are standard requisitions for payment.
Okay, let me get this straight then. So the nursing faculty endowment, we're voting to actually accept that tonight, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. And then she's going to do more research and find out how we can invest it and how she can handle that. And that'll come back to us another time, correct?
That's what she said. Blanca, do you want to take that any further?
We have received the deposit right now.
Okay.
So it is in our bank account, and I've had some statutory regulations for this public funding. These are federal funding that we would need to follow that. However, I am waiting to hear from HED, from Mr. Rommel, on guidance regarding that.
Good.
Okay.
That'll work, because we may have several more options right there. I'm not quite sure either. We'll need to see. But okay, do we have a motion to accept these funds? This is the $2 million. Is this not correct, Blanca?
Yes, $2 million for the endowment for the nursing faculty expansion program related to salaries, and then the $700,000 that was $500,000 for equipment, and $500,000 for equipment, and $200,000 for supplemental salaries to initiate the program.
Okay. Do we have a motion, people?
So move.
Okay. And a second.
Second.
Okay. Margaret, would you do roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Miss Stevenson,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
and Mr. Box,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
Okay. That would be, okay, that's the first one. Okay, now the next one is going to be Exhibit 4. This is for,
So GOMAR is a requisition that is for the mannequins for the nursing program.
right. Looks like that totals $138,118.53, correct?
It's, I believe, 1 second.
Okay.
I always get lost in my.
Folks.
138,118.
Okay. Do we have a motion then to approve this purchase, folks?
I so move.
Okay, and a second.
I didn't get, was that Miss Stevenson or Mr. Sandoval?
Thought that was Jimmy that made the motion, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll second it then.
Okay, that'll
Okay.
work. That works fine. Thank you both.
Okay.
And roll call, please.
Miss Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
Okay. Second purchase order is 116389, and this is for.
This is for Chess. This is for the final payment to Chess to leave the Chess system. The original amount was, Dr. Brooks helped me, I think it was 150. Is that right?
Yes.
That's the amount that we were provided, yeah. So.
Yeah. And so that's right. So we got the 150, and then they credited us for part of that, and this would be the balance of what they assert that we own.
So we had an appropriation of $150,000, for which part of it we pay Campus Works, and the balance we're using towards this invoice, and partly the remaining balance from our own operating funds.
Okay. Okay, Exhibit 5. Do we have a motion to approve this then, folks?
So move.
Okay, Jimmy moved in a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Box seconded.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. And roll call.
I'm thinking Miss Stevenson may have a question.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
Teresa, I did not mean to overrun you. If you have a question, you get right out. Yes.
I'm looking at it again.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to overrun you.
No, that's okay.
Okie dokie then. Back to this. Roll call, I guess then. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
and Mrs. Stevenson,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to maybe this may have been what Mrs. Stevenson was looking at, but I want to clarify that amount that you see. A large portion of that, I believe all but about $20,000 of it was actually not our money anyway. It was money that had been advanced to us through a grant, and we returned it. And so when you're authorizing a check of $100,000+, you're actually returning about $80,000 worth of their money. So it's really a much smaller amount that's actually coming out of the college's revenue.
Thank you, sir. Okay, then the last one is, what is this, our maintenance contract with Genzabar?
Yes, sir. That is for the IT department, Genzabar existing ERP program. That's their yearly invoice for the services of our systems.
Yes. Okay, folks, that will be Exhibit 6, and that totals $55,452. Do we have a motion to approve that expenditure?
So moved, Teresa.
Okay, and a second, please.
Second.
Okay.
Roll
I
call.
believe that was Mr. Box.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Miss Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Streetman.
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Okay. And last but not least would be Exhibit 7. This will be on our check register. Looks like we've got expenditures totaling $342,131.56 for the checks that are out. Is there any questions about any of these? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve Exhibit 7?
I so move.
Okay, Jimmy moved. And a second, please.
Teresa, second.
Thank you, Teresa. Teresa seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Miss Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
and Mr. Box.
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Okay. And next we have some ADA compliance.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
You want to do these individually or in a batch?
I do them in a batch. They're all just documents that need to be updated for the ADA. But you make yourself simple. So Alyssa can tell you what they are briefly, and then you could batch them because there's not much debate over them.
So, there really isn't. It's got to be done. So
it's a formality at this point.
Right. Okay, Alyssa, I guess you're up, man.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I have a couple documents that I have formulated and updated according to ADA standards and compliance, and I have compared them to the forms that they have at NMSU and UNM, so they are in compliance with the state as well. So the first one on Exhibit 8, this is just information for the website because according to the 504, we have to have our accessibility procedure on our website, and currently it's not. And we also have to have all these forms on the website too, just to stay in compliance. And so this first document is just what I formulated to put on the website, and it just basically tells students how our process works here, the updated process with their correct limitations and accessibilities that they're offered on campus. So it's just the procedure that they need to follow. I don't know if anyone has any questions for this one. And then at the bottom, you're supposed to list your resources when you have ADA compliancy. So that's why those are at the bottom, is because that also has to be on the website. So that way students can access those too, if they have other questions. So, and these other forms, like the request form, will be linked on this page. So that's the first one. And then Exhibit 9 is the request form that students will have to fill out in order to get approval. And this is on an individual basis. Not every student that makes request will automatically get approved for what they're requesting because it has to be in aligned with their disability that they're claiming. But usually there's no issue with that. We don't normally have people that have to go through the whole, they won't go through the whole process with their doctor to try to get something that they're not qualified for. So it's not, anything that'll get out of hand really. But again, at the top, it has our policy, and it's just basic information, and they'll have to attach a physician letter or a mental health specialist letter just as basis, and those have to be dated within the last 3 years. Our last request form was not in compliance with ADA standards, and so that's why I had to update the old one because it was not asking for the correct documentation, and if we were to get audited, it would have caused some issues. So that's why this one has been updated. And it has to be done every semester just because that's what 504 requires for a college. So just everyone knows. And then Exhibit 10 and 11 are very similar to each other. So basically, if a student gets a accommodation that allows them to either get notes from their professor or ability to tape record a lecture, it's basically them agreeing that they're not going to share those notes or those recordings with anyone else, any third party. So that way they're not under like file for academic dishonesty. So that way it limits cheating within people that are getting accommodations. So it just kind of covers us and covers the student. So not every student is going to get that, but just the ones that do qualify for it. And then our last one for Exhibit 12 is just the approval notice that will go out to the students and then also to professors. So this will only go to the student that applied or requested accommodations and the instructor each semester. So that's one reason that they have to do it each semester, is because each semester they're going to have different classes, they're going to have different instructors, and they might need different accommodations if their disability, let's say, gets worse. And so this is something that I will fill out. I'll put the date, I'll list the instructors. This gets emailed in a secure email that they have to use a password in a zipped file to open. And it just lists the accommodations that the student did get. And then it does get approved by Pat Crook because she's ADA certified. And that's basically it. If anyone has any questions, just let me know.
Okay, questions, anyone? If we have no questions on this, do we have approval, or do we have a motion to approve Exhibits 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 for the ADA requirements?
So moved, Teresa.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. And a second, please.
Second.
Okay, Jimmy, thank you. Roll call.
Miss Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
and Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
Okay. Okay, I guess next item on our agenda, we have an executive session scheduled. Do we have a motion to go into executive session for the requirements listed here?
I so move.
Okay, Mr. Box moved in a second.
Second, Teresa.
Okay, and roll call, please.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
and Miss Stevenson,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
Okay. I guess, Dr. Bush, who do you want to keep here and everybody else can leave? We need to make doubly sure that the stream is broken.
Yes, I would like to ask Blanca to stay with us, Secretary Harden, Dr. Brooks, Mr. Nemro, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Kaiser, Mr. McVeigh, Mr. Galendo, Ms. Ragland, Mrs. Bush. And that, I believe I got everybody there.
Okay. Now, institutional computing. Are you here, and is the stream broken?
The stream has cut off now, and I am getting offline.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Everybody else can drop off, but the people that
All right, now I have to close out of his and leave him. Okay. Who's he gonna call? I have no idea. He didn't say. Probably me, since he's got my number. Yeah. I hate to say this, but you might have to get him my phone number. Again, I don't want people knowing me. might have been somebody coughing just at the end before I hit disconnect on the meeting, the Google Meet.
Jason, I don't know if you saw my email, but the meeting notice that's on our website that that's not pointing to the right YouTube. It's pointing to last month's meeting and not
okay.
this month's. So
All right. I'll get to work on that.
thank you.
Or I'll get the guys to get to work on it. How about
Thank
that?
you.
Just somebody get to work on it.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, 'cause it has to
I know.
Yeah.
Jason, I emailed her last month's report, so I tell you, I had it done and sent the wrong report.
Okay.
We've had fun getting ready for this little deal. Yeah, with a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm still
ready for me to go
I'm
live?
still seeing-
Yes.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
All right, we're live again.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess at this particular point, we have a motion to reconvene from this executive session?
So moved, Teresa.
Okay, Teresa removed. Second, please.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Roll call.
Mr. Box. Mr. Box. I believe you're muted, sir.
Yeah, yes, I was. I'm behind time here. I was talking to myself. I can't.
We all do that from time to time, Philip.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Streetman.
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Okay. There's no action to be taken based on our executive session at this point. Do we have any new business? Okay, the correspondence will be in the back of the packet. There appears to be a little bit, not a lot. Informational items are important dates. The holiday break the college will be closed from December the 19th through January the 2nd. Martin Luther King's Day the college will be closed on that day on January the 16th. The Board of Trustees 12-month calendar is Exhibit 13 in the back, and the Board of Trustees annual calendar of reports is also in the back. Announcements. On Thursday, December the 15th at 4:30 p.m., Jim Morgan will be awarded emeritus status. And the college on January the 17th, Mesalands Community College Board of Trustees will have our next meeting on January the 17th, Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Folks, is there anything else? I'll start with the upper left-hand corner. Dr. Bush, you got anything else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the, I want to encourage the board and the members, of course, to celebrate with us Jim's service, his decades of service with the college. And as a result, Mr. Chairman, would you like Margaret to put a notice out that you may have a majority quorum of the board at that presentation?
Yes, sir, we need to.
Yes, sir. I will.
Please.
Yes, sir.
And make sure we get, now Tom wasn't here tonight. Let's make sure we get an email sent to Tom too. Let him know.
Yes, sir.
Well, he'll see it in the pamphlet, but let's just remind him.
Okay.
Okay, is that all for you, sir?
That is, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, you're next. You got anything, sir? Okay, I didn't hear you because you're muted, but anyway, I got the gist of it, Jim.
I do that a lot. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm asleep at the switch part of the time too here lately. Mr. Kaiser, you?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Brooks?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Sandoval?
No, sir.
Ms. Ragland?
No, sir.
Ms. Bush?
No, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Box?
I'd just like to say thank you to the staff and the president and the board members in these trying times of hanging in there and bringing this information to us. And we'll get through it. We'll get through it. We may have a few battle scars, but we'll get through it. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Box.
And we won't forget either, Philip.
That's right.
Okay, Ms. Blokovich, am I close?
No, she's not, but
Okay, well, I apologize.
No, sir. Nothing to add at this point. Paulikevicius.
Okay. Mr. McVeigh.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Nimro.
Thank you. No, I have nothing to add.
Mr. Galindo.
No, just want to say thank you and happy holidays, everyone. Here's the great 2023.
Yeah. Ms. Davidson.
Nothing, just thank you, all of you, for what you do.
Institutional computing. That young man, have you got anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Okay, I guess I'll finish this up. I wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for everything you do for this institution. Thank you so much. That being said, we can call this meeting adjourned at 8:23.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas to you.
Merry
Thank
Christmas, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Happy Hanukkah.